Sure. So my name is Caleb. I turned 28 next month, man. Been in real estate for 3 years. Got in at probably the craziest time to have gotten into real estate. Been extremely blessed. I credit a lot of my success to, like you said, consistency, discipline, and surrounding yourself with the right people. Surrounding yourself with people that are go-getters. Me and Chris, we're pretty locked in here in Fayetteville. We talk business almost every single day. We're always keeping things and opportunities at the forefront. So being available is definitely key. So a couple of things that I wanted to talk about that I've seen has been super successful for me, and briefly talking to Eli about it is, when I first got into the game, I knew, okay, nobody's just going to give me leads unless I joined a team. Nobody is just going to hand feed me business. So after doing a lot of research and things like that, I came to the conclusion that I, and now my team members, we need at least 4 pillars of lead generation. Okay. And I'm talking about solid. Like, I know I can pull that lever and I'm generating business. So you can have more than 4 pillars, but I'd always recommend have at least 4 pillars. Okay, so what we really focus on our lead generation is referral networks. We're partnered up with Veterans United, which is the biggest VA loan originator in the country. We are in Fayetteville, so if you're familiar kind of with North Carolina, we do have Fort Bragg, Fort Liberty, which is the biggest East Coast military base. So we have a lot of military clients. I think me and Chris's business is about 95% VA loans. So we get a lot of business from Veterans United. We've created an amazing relationship with them. We go see them out there in Mississippi from time to time. Like, we've really dialed in that relationship. Also, internet leads, whether that be, Facebook leads, Google ads. I'm saying if you're big on Zillow, hey, go for it. Definitely have a plan if you're messing with Zillow. Farming. Farming is something that we've recently got into in the last year and a half. We have 2 dedicated neighborhoods, and I have agents that live in each of those neighborhoods. So what we'll do is, well, first and foremost, we put a sign in that agent's yard, agent on duty. Okay, boom. Then what we do is we do door hangers. It's not intrusive at all. We throw it on their door, just letting them know, hey, the Yeti house has moved into your neighborhood. If you ever need a contractor, plumber, electrician, anything, let us know. We don't want you to sell your house. We love you as a neighbor. We want to keep you here, but we do want you to, let us know if you know anybody interested in buying or selling. We want to be that resource for you. Then what we do is we do mailers. We'll occasionally door knock just to see how the neighborhood's doing. And what I find so effective by having an agent in that neighborhood or doing it your own neighborhood is you could literally start the conversation. Hey, it's your name, Caleb. You know what I'm saying? How was your week? I'm also a realtor. Just wanted to let you know, if you ever have any questions, you ever want to know how much your investment, your home is worth, feel free to reach out. I'm your guy. We can have that conversation. And one thing that we are gearing up for during this season is we're sending out a mailer for Toys for Tots. Okay, so we're going to be collecting Toys for Tots, and we're going to go door knock on the doors, and we're like, hey, you may have gotten our postcard. We're collecting some toys for the drive. Do you happen to have anything you'd like to donate? Not only is it showing that, we're not in it for just a business. You know what I'm saying? Because we do a lot of things for the community as well. We want to tie it in. We want to show them that, hey, we're not your average quote unquote sleazy salesman. We don't just want to talk to you for your business. We want to talk to you to generate connections. So that's my spiel on farming. And then, of course, the OG, SOI, and social media. I kind of lump those 2 together because if you're disciplined enough and you're consistent enough, they kind of go hand in hand. All right. So when I'm making a big post, a big video, or a big interview of a local builder or something like that, not only am I putting that on my social medias, but I'm hitting up like my inner SOI, people I know that really like trust me, know me. I have conversations with these people. I'm sending that link to them like, hey, man, had a great conversation with Ben Stout. He's a local builder. He does most of the new builds in the area. So I had a conversation with him about the future of Fayetteville and where we're going. Man, I'd love for you to check it out and let me know what you think about it. So realistically, when it comes down to it, and those 4 pillars of lead generation, I tell my agents all the time, busy agents produce. You know what I'm saying? So staying consistent, staying productive, staying disciplined. Me and Eli were just talking, Eli and Chris, probably about 30 minutes ago, and he made a good analogy. If someone knocked on your door, how motivated are you to go answer it? It's probably Sunday night, you're watching your favorite show. How motivated are you to go answer that door? Probably not that motivated. But if someone called you and said, I'm leaving a box of $100,000, just like Eli said, someone told you they're leaving a box of $100,000 at your door, you're going to hop up real quick and go get it. So it's a matter of discipline. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to wake up wanting to do something some days. But what you need to tell yourself and train yourself is that's when the business happens. When you don't want to do anything, that's when you're going to break through, you're going to push, and you're going to keep it going. And you're going to realize, hey, I'm glad I got out of bed today. So I won't take up all the time. I'll let Chris talk, but 4 pillars of lead generation, definitely have those on lock. It could be anything, but know what you're good at, know what your strengths and your weaknesses are, and play into it 100%, because that's exactly what I did. And then busy agents produce. Stay on top of it. Always be posting, whether it be get you a kind of schedule. Some people post every single day on social media. I find that to be a little too much, but 3 to 5 times a week business. And then of course, post some personal things in between to show that you're not just a robot selling homes all day. So that's my little spiel. Talk kind of quick, but I'll let Chris take over and we'll jump back and forth.
That was good.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
I got questions afterwards, so that was good.
Yeah,
Chris.
Not even gonna lie, I had pretty much the exact same thing for me to talk about written down. So, which just goes hand in hand. Kaleb and I, we do own separate teams out here in Fayetteville. We do also own another joint business together, a photography and media company. So we work very closely together, and it's because we share a lot of the same values. So, one thing that I really want to speak on is that word that nobody wants to hear, and we've said it a bunch here, is consistency. It's actually in bold, big letters on the bottom of my to-do list is consistency. You have to stay consistent with whatever you do. So Kaleb brought up a very good point about your 4 pillars for lead generation. If you know that you're like, hey, I don't really want to pay for internet leads. I don't want to pay $3,500 a month to get some Zillow leads, which not a lot of people do. But there's ways that you can get leads for free. People don't want to talk about them, but the next time that there's a parade in your town, go to the parade, shake hands, talk to people, be out there and be known. The discipline part of it too is a big thing, because every morning you wake up, especially if you don't have any, business going right now, it's just like, well, I don't really want to send out those emails. I don't want to send out those texts, send out those phone calls. And that's just something you have to do. I'm sure a lot of people, I'm a veteran myself, so I always like muscle memory. Muscle memory is just something that comes with doing something repeatedly. So that's one of those things, even when it comes down to texting, emailing, and calling, is if you've got a client that hasn't responded to you. Well, they say it typically, what was that study, Kaleb? Was it like 9 touches? It takes about 9 touches for somebody to actually respond to you. I can't tell you how many contracts, and Kaleb and I talk about it all the time, just about every night. It was like, oh man, you're killing it right now. He says, what did you say the other day? I keep my buyers in my back pocket. Well, really what it is staying consistent and staying disciplined with the buyers that I have. Some of them I've been talking to for 3 or 4 months. It just wasn't their time. I got one guy that I've been talking to since April, finally got him a house, because now we're starting to get to a market where we can ask for some closing costs, stuff like that. Not everybody can come straight out of pocket, 10K in due diligence, 10K earnest money, and just roll with it. But consistency is the one word that I really want to stretch in this conversation. Is number one, everybody here is an independent contractor. Everybody here owns their own business, whether you work for a team, work for a firm, or work for yourself. Really, if you work for yourself, obviously. But everybody works for themselves in the long run. You're the only person that's going to make for yourself. Nobody, Kaleb had a good point. Nobody getting in the business, you have to have the mindset of nobody's just going to give you stuff. And if they do give you stuff, it comes at a heavy price. Like Kaleb and I, we're not going to talk about names or anything, but we were on a team together, and we did get leads given to us by them. But we do also work on getting our own lead sources. But the caveat to that was a split. It's like, hey, you're at a 50-50 split. I gave you the lead that you have to pay a 35% referral fee on, and a 50% split on the transaction. So really, people don't like to talk about referral fees. Personally, I don't have a problem with them. For one, you're not going to have the business without the lead anyways, but at the same time, you wouldn't have the business either way. But at the same time, wouldn't you rather get out there, be known, go to events, put your face out there? If you want to do some marketing, like I know, a big one, which I'm kind of rambling now, but I wanted to bring up, Eli's a great point, brought us on here at EXP. His thing was his hat, like he's wearing right now, his 116 group hat. Everybody knows Eli in his hat. If he has his hat off, what'd you say, Eli? You went somewhere and they were like, who are you? And then you put the hat on and they know who you are. Yeah. That's his brand. He's got his logo on his hat, and that's it. If you know that you're a hat person, make a hat with your name on it. Hey, I'm Christopher Baker. I'm a local realtor. It looks cheesy, but being top of mind and being the talk around the town in a good way, people are going to say, hey, it's time for me to sell my house. In our area, I'm PCSing. Well, I know Chris was at Chris was at the brewery the other day talking to some people, and I heard his name. Let me look him up. Boom, they look you up. If you're consistent on social media, you're on your posts, doing your videos, know, like, and trust. That's what they're going to look for.
100%. And not to cut you off, Chris, but one thing is really hard for a lot of people is you're going to have to put your ego to the side in this business, especially, you know, when working for yourself. Like Chris said, sometimes you don't want to be cheesy, but at the end of the day, if cheesy is going to keep you top of mind, it's going to make you money. You know what I'm saying? So I'll be cheesy all day if I'm making cheese. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, and I hear all the time about what agents won't do, but then have families and then, you know, have dependents and things like that. And me and my mindset, it's just like, I'm gonna provide for my family, and I'm sure y'all will as well. So you really have to step up to the plate and really, okay, I got to do actionable items. I got to do X, Y, and Z. I got to go walk out. Okay, so when I got in COVID, it was the summer of COVID when I got my license. I door knocked. I got some hate for it, but I got some of my first clients off of it as well. Because realistically, you know, doesn't matter what your views on the situation. Some people believed in masks. Some people did not believe in masks. And majority of our town did not believe in masks. You know what I'm saying? So I felt like there was a higher upside than downside. And if there was one time somebody did post on Facebook about me walking around their neighborhood, no mask, knocking on doors. And guess what? In their comment section, they were getting hated on. So my thing is, like, it doesn't matter. You're always going to have haters. You're always going to have somebody that's going to be quote unquote opposition or resistance. But at the same time, it's like, you have to have your priorities straight. You have to leave the ego to the side, and you have to know, hey, this is what my mission is. And as long as I stick to my plan, it's going to work out. And I'm saying, me personally, I'm a spiritual person. You know, I let go and let God. You know what I'm saying? I come up with a plan and we put it in motion. We put it in stone. And as long as I'm consistent, I know the big guy got me. So that's me personally. But consistency, leave that ego at the door and really work hard. I know we're going to get into some actionable steps in a second, but you got to leave that ego at the door. You have to. And especially when you step up to become a leader, you open your own firm, you open your own team and things like that. Now you have people who are depending on you. I'm saying, like, I have an agent, Themba. Themba has a whole family, and he depends on me to make sure the business goes right. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, damn, guys, I don't want to do this. I don't want to make these cold calls. I don't want to sit here and prospect for 2 hours first thing in the morning. But then I realized I got 4 other agents on my team, and not necessarily saying they're not doing any business, but they count on me to be that guy. You know what I'm saying? And if you can get your mindset to, hey, I am the boss. What steps I do today is going to affect my business in 30 days from now. You get that mindset, you stay consistent, you see results. You see results. And I know it can sound easier said than done, but that's the point. It has to be done. You have to get out there. You have to do it. Eli, I know you said you had a few questions.
No, I love that, man. I love that you're and I know you said boss, but it's basically being a leader, right? You're leading the team. You're leading by example. It's not, because I feel like a boss tells people what to do. A leader shows people what to do.
100%.
So you're leading by example. So I love that. First of all, I want you to know that I'm going to quote you on Facebook with, "I'll be cheesy all day as long as I'm making that cheese." Yeah. So I'm going to quote you, put a nice picture of you and everything. So that's going on Facebook. I love that. I wanted to also touch on something you said about your door knocking and your mask when people were criticizing you. I think one of the biggest mistakes, and I learned this from one of my mentors, one of the biggest mistakes that we make as realtors is we want to be everybody's agent. And I'll give you, in Houston, Texas, there are 52,000, probably 52,000 agents or something. It's 48, 43. There's between 40 and 50,000 agents. It's ridiculous how many realtors there are.
Right.
And there are almost 200,000 transactions a year. The biggest team in Houston is the Loken Group. They probably do 2 to 3% of the market. They have a 2 to 3% market share in the entire market. So if the Loken Group, which is the biggest group in all of Houston, or was it at some point, only has 2 to 3% market share, why am I so focused on trying to be everybody's realtor? I can't do 100% of the market. So it's and the way my mentor Ryan Stewman said it is, you got to attract and repel. You got to build your tribe. You got to repel and you got to attract. So that's what you did. You were door knocking without a mask, and you weren't trying to be disrespectful. That's just who you are. And it helped you without discriminating. It helped you not attract the people you don't want to be with, right? So like I said on stage at EXPCon, to me, my clients and my teammates are people that I would bring to my house for dinner. Like I would have Kaleb at my house for dinner. I would have Mike Stockman at my house for dinner, and Chris at my house for dinner, and Harold. And, this is the people that I want to attract. And then there's people I want to repel. So I love that. I love that you touched on that.
Yes, sir.
I have a couple questions. I don't know if you want to answer them now or later on. Number one, I would love for you guys to elaborate, and maybe we can actually mastermind on this a little bit on what other pillars of business there are, because maybe you and Chris don't have the same exact ones. I personally have a couple that have nothing to do with the ones you said, which also shows everybody that we have 100 ways to skin a cat. So that's the first one. And then the second one, you have a relationship with Veterans United. For those of us who are not in Fayetteville, how do we build that? How did that start? And is that available in other markets? And how do we get into that? And are there any other companies? I guess third question: what other companies other than Veterans United could maybe some of our agents take some action to partner with?
So, and that's a great one, because there are hundreds of referral networks. Okay, guys. And, me and my team, we've signed up for tons of them. Okay. Some give you poor quality leads. Some give you nothing. Some give you, leads that you have to follow up with for a couple. At the end of the day, they're all tools. All right. So you have, and if y'all can write this down, I'll see if I can add it into the chat. There is Referral Exchange. There is, of course, Veterans United. Veterans United is available in all markets, but here's the caveat to that, because, in all markets here and there, people will use a VA loan. It's just our market is saturated with VA loans that we get a lot of high quality leads for that. All right. But I did just recently talk to actually an EXP agent out there in Wisconsin. He had reached out to me randomly on Facebook and was like, man, I just got into the game. Can you give me some advice? And I told him about Veterans United. And sometimes, depending on your market, depending on how heavy Veterans United is in your market, they'll sometimes have a wait list. This kid had like maybe 2 or 3 deals. There was no wait list in his area, and he's already gotten 2 leads, and one of them's pre-approved already. So I'm saying, like, definitely check it out. Let me put that in there. What else are we doing? We are,
just to touch on Veterans United while Kaleb is typing some more in the chat for you guys. Veterans United is, they do have some prerequisites. They want you to try to be licensed at least 2 years. If there's no wait list, obviously sometimes that's not possible. Like, I know our market, they're way oversaturated with agents. I think there's Kaleb, like 89 agents in our market right now. Yeah. And they're trying to dwindle even that number down, just because they don't want, they don't want to have too many agents and not enough leads, or they don't want to have, one agent that's getting all the good stuff. But with them having a 2-year minimum, that's also something to look into. But the reason I bring that up is because even if there is a wait list, for any lead source, any of these ones that he's typing in the chat, keep up with it, keep on talking to them, because I'm going to tell you right now, and I'll be completely honest with everybody in this chat, is Veterans United has a 2-year wait list. They have some other prerequisites that you have to follow. And I got in with Veterans United, and I was only licensed for 6 months. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a veteran, so that kind of played into that too. My business model is veterans helping veterans. But, I got in with them, and, you just have to prove yourself with any lead source. And I got in with them, and within a year, Kaleb, what is that award? What's the awards that we're going to get? Is it like top 10% in the nation or something like that?
Top 2%.
Yeah. Top 2%. Anywho, it's something like that, just to, not to boast, but like top 2% in the nation is ridiculous. And in the amount of business that you do, they keep track with your conversion rate, just like anything. For these lead sources, they're going to keep track of everything, and you have to stay on top of it. And the reason I brought that up too is, like I said, even if something has a prerequisite, it all dives into consistency and discipline. If it's something you really want, go after it, try to get it. Down to a lead source, down to any kind of marketing you're trying to do. If you want to make $1 million this year, set your goal and get after it. I put in a mastermind group the other day. And that's another one too that we'll talk about. It's mastermind groups. I put in one the other day is has everybody, it's about that time of year. I don't remember the exact verbiage, but it's about that time of year, who's met their goals and who's already setting their goals for 2024. And there's so many agents out there that just don't understand, what do you mean set a goal? I'm struggling to sell my first house. Okay, so set a goal to sell 2 houses. As long as you have a goal that you're working towards, you can't work towards nothing. You always have to work towards something. Everybody has a different why. Everybody has a different something.
Yeah. So I threw a couple of examples in there, and I have a picture, an actual graphic, and it has like literally 60 different referral networks. I'm gonna find it. It's somewhere in my notes. I'll send it to Eli, and we can get it out to you guys. But touching back on the different pillars of lead generation, there's one that we're actually considering right now, and is we're going to start going to the popular divorce attorneys in town. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to talk to them, foster that relationship, because here's the mindset behind that. Okay, we're in a military town. A lot of military folk, they get married just for the BAH. Okay, and not to say that's a good thing. Hey, it's a strategy. It happens, but at the same time, there's a lot of divorces that result out of that. And of course, like we know, with the zero money down, they have a bolstered BAH income because they're married, they're buying a house. They get divorced, they're selling that house. You know what I'm saying? So we're getting really good with the divorce attorneys locally, and fostering that relationship, letting them know that, hey, we're your go-tos, you know, maybe send them a box of donuts once a month or something like that, and working that angle. You know, peer-to-peer referrals, you know, mastermind groups, you know, I hate to say it, but it's a little easier for us as well on that side, because all I got to do is go to another base's referral group on Facebook, and then I can be like, hey, I'm a Fort Bragg agent, you know, feel free to send me any referrals. I'll send them to you if you're going to Fort Carson, or, you know, wherever it may be. But definitely peer-to-peer referrals. I've been seeing a lot of success with that. And once again, staying consistent. You know what I'm saying? Because we see all the time, hey, I'm looking for an agent in Austin, Texas. And then you have a million people being fangirls to agents they know. But when you're one of those names out of that 1,000 in that comment section, if they click on your profile and they see that you're consistent, you're knowledgeable, and you're professional, I'm saying, I'm not going to lie, it's going to give you a huge leg up over probably 75% of the people in that comment section. And switching over just a little bit, Op City. Op City is something that we've been utilizing since we've been with EXP. Our market was available. I believe me and Chris both got in there. And I've been with Op City probably about 5 weeks now. And we've already gotten over, I've claimed probably like 50 leads, but 200 leads have came across the board. Okay. So like that was wild to me. Did not see that coming. The quality of leads, you're definitely gonna have to follow up with them for a little bit, get them pre-approved and things like that, but that's part of the job. But at the end of the day, that's given to us, EXP agents. So definitely go to EXP World, ask for the sign up form for Op City, and see if you can go either get on that waiting list or just go ahead and get signed up, because it's definitely going to help. And especially if you're an agent that has no business, it'll definitely give you that leg up 100%. I was really surprised. I got 2 of my other agents on Op City before it became too many agents in the area for us. And they're seeing good results. It's keeping them busy, you know, and at the end of the day, I got a couple of newer agents on my team. So it's definitely allowing them to put in that legwork, get experience. We're going on these showings. I always go to the showings with my newer agents to kind of help them through the ropes. And I had a conversation with the concierge for Op City, and I can't complain. I'm saying we're getting a lot of leads. Some of them have popped, but at the same time, it's all about what you make of it.
Yeah, and it's also important. I think another mistake that sometimes we make is we try to get these leads to close. I mean, we've had leads that close 4 years after they come into our database. We have literally had leads 4 years afterwards buy a property. So if I can give you anything for everybody as far as leads go, stop seeing them as leads for sales and start seeing them as another contact in your database. When I started focusing on just growing our database, we went from 2,000 contacts. We have like 13,000 contacts in our database right now. You know, start growing that, nurture those people, mail them, send them market reports, send them listings, send them emails, send them, you know, I would avoid the keeping current matter crap that nobody really wants to see.
Yeah.
You know, don't spam people, but see it. I think your one thing in my business, to me, the one thing is just building my database, and deals will come from that. I mean, if you build it, they will come, right? So you just build a database. So I don't think there is a bad lead. I mean, there's leads that are never going to buy from you, but you never know what lead that doesn't buy from you might refer you, might know somebody who might be looking to buy or sell. Everybody either buys a house or knows somebody who's going to buy or sell a house. I mean, so
yeah. And to piggyback off of that, not to interrupt you, you know, I want to do something with somebody. If somebody wants to volunteer that's in the audience, Kaleb and I were at a mastermind, or a seminar rather, for Tom Ferry last year, and to check it out, see what he was all about. And he did one thing that blew my mind. And let me get one volunteer. Let's see, who am I going to choose? Let's do Thomas Owen. That's our guy over there. All right, so I know Thomas.
It's good to see you, boys.
But hey, Thomas, so I want you to pull out your phone, and I want you to go to your contacts and tell me the number that's in your contacts list.
Should be at the bottom.
994 contacts.
You know what Tom Ferry would say? That's nine. You said 994.
Yeah, 994.
That's 994 opportunities. That's 994 people that are waiting for your call. It takes that one. Thomas was with me when I first got licensed. My first listing was from a text that I made to my contacts list, and it was a lawyer for the VA who never even contacted me about my claims and helping me with my process. I messaged him 4 years later when I got into real estate, and he was like, "Hey, actually, I got a house out here, in Cameron that I needed to sell. Ended up being a $370,000 house, which is good. Our average price point here is about 225. So my first listing is almost a $400,000 house as a brand new agent. But that's 994 opportunities. That's 994 text messages, phone calls, and aggravating guy that says, "Hey, I'm going to pick on you, Thomas. Hey, I'm Thomas Owen. Want to buy or sell your house?" No. Hey, I'm Thomas Owen. I'm a licensed real estate agent. If you have any questions or you want to know about the market or anything like that, I'm here to help. Will you get any responses? You might get a few. You might even get some that say, "Hey, screw off." But guess what? At least they responded.
Yeah, 100%.
Now you've got 900 and
piggyback.
You've got 900.
Yeah, then we got to wrap. It is almost 12:30, but we want to wrap it up. And I want to wrap up with whenever you guys
Actionable.
give me, if you have no business today, I want to hear from actually Thomas. You're already on the stage, so we're gonna have to hear from you too. So I want to hear from you guys 3 things. If right now you have no business, let's just assume you have nothing under contract, you have no listings, and you had to do right now today for free without paying for it, you had to do 3 things you would do right now to get a listing. Go.
All right, I'm cold calling expireds and withdrawals first and foremost, okay? Because in this market, people are slowing down, not speeding up, okay? So, especially the last, you can go on your MLS, you can go on, findpeoplesearch.com or something like that, find their information and reach out to them. Especially in the last 30 days, those people want to sell. All right, definitely reaching out to them. Okay, I'm going in my personal neighborhood, I'm knocking on doors and I'm making cold calls. I'm introducing myself to my neighborhood. Okay, I'm letting them know that I'm that resource. And then the third thing, dang, I had it on the tip of my tongue.
Well, I got you. I got mine on my head. So, one thing I'm doing is, I'm going to be honest, I don't mind doing cold calling stuff like that. It's very effective, but it's just not me. That's not my business. But what I do love to do, because I love to talk, I'm a very personable person. I can talk to anyone for an exuberant amount of time, is I'm going to look online, go to Facebook and find events near me. I'm going to find an event and I'm going to go talk to people. I'm going to shake hands. I'm going to give out business cards. Thing that I would do is, like, right where I live in downtown Rayford. One street over from me is Main Street. Main Street just opened up like 2 new restaurants. I'm going in those restaurants. I'm talking to the owner who also owns the hardware store across the street, shaking hands. To me, that's the biggest way to grow business, but also get your name out there. Shake hands and take names and shake hands.
I'm calling it, third one, not to cut you off, I'm calling everybody in my contacts.
Yep, that was going to be my next one, is contacts.
Vigorously. I'm calling them. If I have your contact number, especially if you're friends or family, I'm harassing you at that point because I can. You know what I'm saying? I'm calling my cousin, hey, do you know anybody? Stop lying, man. I know you know somebody. You know what I'm saying? I know you know somebody that was trying to rent and, maybe didn't do this. Man, let me talk to him. Let me pair him up with my preferred lender. Let's see what his options are. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially friends and family, you can ask my brothers, my sisters, my mom. Oh yeah, I'm always asking. When my grandma's hanging out with all her older friends and things like that, they're playing cards and this, that, and other. I know your friend has a grandson that just got a promotion and he's looking to expand. He's looking to build his family, this, that, and other. Oh yeah, I'm hitting everybody.
Go into a referral networking group on Facebook. Go into all of them, every freaking one of them, and say, "Hey, I'm Thomas Owen. I'm in Fayetteville, Carolina, and I would love to take your referrals."
Yeah.
Easy peasy. That's something you sit it, you leave it, and then every week go check on the post. Make sure that people are liking it. If not, hey, post it again because there's going to be people in there.
There's have a mindset.
Tell me your 3, Thomas, if they haven't already been said.
I'll get a little more creative. Here's one: reverse prospecting. Call those who have looked at your listings. Here's another one too. I was thinking about, call the other agents you've worked with recently. See, maybe there's someone that is looking in my area that ain't in their area. We're real good about keeping up with people who call about different listings. So maybe call those prospects. Cold calling expires as well. Something I like to do.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah, stop focusing on the 10% of business that your whole market is chasing. That's another big thing. And I'll leave it at that. You know, everybody in your market is focusing on the 10% of people that are trying to buy right now. And I get it. You need money right now. But there's 90% of people on the back end that are going to be buying a month, 2 months, 3 months, a year out. Okay. Nurture those relationships, stay consistent with communication.
4 years
Hey,
out.
do you mind if I say something real quick? Something kind of piggyback off of what y'all were saying when I first got on about consistency. Something I'll probably never forget that Caleb said when I first joined the team that I know him and Chris from, that he had so many leads in his CRM at the time, but so many of them were like, oh, I want to look later on or this or that. And he kind of let a bunch of them slip through the cracks. So then he calls him one day and he realized how many deals he lost because they wouldn't close with someone else because he didn't keep up with them. And how much money did you say you lost? It was like $34,000 or something wild.
Yep, it was a little bit over $30,000. And when you sit there and like Thomas said, I did have a lot of leads coming in at the time, really expanding those pillars. But then you're like, damn, I haven't heard from such and such in a couple months. Let me see what's up with them. I'll text them, not hear anything back. Me personally, oh yeah, I'm looking up on the Real List or the GIS. I'm searching you by your name to see if you bought something since the last time we talked. And a lot of people did. And then yeah, like Thomas said, I lost over $30,000 because of my inability to stay consistent. Didn't make that mistake again.
We did that math once, Risa, and I think it was $72,000 in commission we had lost in like.
You know what I'm saying? Oh man, it makes you feel like shit. Excuse my language. I'm trying to tell you because you could have capitalized on it. You know what I'm saying? Hell, you could have referred it out and still made money on it, but you just didn't follow up. You didn't stay consistent. And life happens. It really does. But business and life, you got to balance.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being here today. This is recorded. It'll be uploaded to our whatever that thing is called. Risa knows what it's called. I always forget what it's called.
Thanks for the opportunity, Eli, and thank you all for
Hey, we appreciate you guys for sure.
Yeah, thanks for listening to us.
There's like 7 people trying to come into the chat now. Like it's 12:30, man. What's wrong?
Let them in. Let them in.
Yeah, all right. I'll let them in. If whoever has to step out, I completely get it. I appreciate you guys. Is there anything else you want to discuss before we head out? We disconnect. Is there any questions, Mike, Brittany? Questions, comments, anything?
Feel free to follow us on Facebook, guys. If you ever have any questions, feel free.
I got one real quick.
Go, Mike.
So you do a lot of veteran stuff. You work where a base is. In Houston, I mean, we have a Coast Guard base nearby here. And I know there are some agents out here that are successful at doing Coast Guard groups and things like that. How do you get in those groups? Is it only if you're a veteran they're going to let you in, or like Facebook stuff? Or
So, some people have different rules on their groups. But what I would say is, because I'm not a veteran, okay, so I've run into that issue. What I always come from is a place of value. You know what I'm saying? Like, because at the end of the day, if you come from a positive place of value, most times you're not going to get turned down. I always come first front like, hey, I serve veterans because they served our country. I take a lot of pride in being able to say that. I want to be able to provide them the top tier experience, being able to use their benefits to get into a home, coming from a place of value and letting them know, like, here, I'm here as a resource. I'm not here to just spam stuff in the group. I'm not here just to be obnoxious. I'm here to come from a place of value, and I hope that you can see myself as a resource, and please use me 100%. And worst case scenario, man, one thing that I've been working on, I've been kind of talking to Eli about, if you can't get into that group, create the group.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? It's free to create that group.
There's 2 masterminds right there that we can create. We should have a meeting maybe next week or the next couple of weeks. Let's talk about veterans, serving veterans, finding those veteran leads, working with them. What is special about them? What most people don't know? What benefits they have? I think that's a good conversation to have. And then I'm happy to also do one and talk about Facebook groups. I mean, we have a Facebook group that generated 1,800 leads in like 90 days. So I mean, warm leads. So we can talk about that. Brittany, did you have a question or comment? I saw you unmuted yourself earlier. Oh, you're unmuted, but we can't hear you. Brittany, we can't hear you. Brittany, we can't hear you. Brittany, we can't hear you.
Can she hear us?
Can you hear us, Brittany? Can you hear me? We can't hear you. I mean, you're not muted, but we can't hear you.
I think she might be on the phone.
Oh, is that what it is?
Or
Says
maybe
it's muted on mine.
type in your question.
I don't know.
Okay.
I muted her just in case.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, hey, appreciate you guys. If Brittany had a question, I'm sorry, we kind of tried there. But I appreciate it. This was good. Harold, please upload this to the cloud. Let's get it on video.ai because we probably get some good clips out of this for also to share with everybody. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys next week. I do this every Wednesday. Sometimes I show up and nobody shows up, and that's okay. But if you guys ever have questions, and I would like to do every other week, have a mastermind like this where somebody comes in and we talk about something specific. Let's try to get a veterans one, and then we'll talk about a Facebook group ones, and I'll lead that one because we've done pretty well with the Facebook groups. Mike, I appreciate you. Hey, connect with these two guys on social media. Mike's a great guy. So thank you guys.
That goes for everybody too. Reach out. We're here to help.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Later. Happy Thanksgiving.
Take care.